Hello everybody, thank you for joining me for your weekly reading for February 10th through February 16th. As you can see, my setup has changed. It's a little more cohesive, more space so you can see the cards. I have my little cat chilling, I got some crystals laid out. And we're just going to go right into it. I was meditating on the energies for the week, and just two words came to mind. It was peace and prosperity. So given the energies last week, I do feel like this week's a little lighter. Last week felt a bit heavy, especially with this Leo full moon, not new moon. I think leading up to that, things might have been intense for some people. I think Venus just moved into Aries too, didn't it? So a lot of fiery energy going on. Compared to the last reading, I'm actually going to just freestyle it how I usually do. The only time I really structure my readings is when I do personal readings, if there's any questions being asked. But the way I usually read for myself is just freestyling it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It feels more comfortable, it feels more natural, and I feel like messages come through easier that way when I just leave it up to the universe to let things come through. So yes, I take a deep breath. I welcome you to join me. I call out to Spirit to please help myself and the collective see and hear and know whatever we need to see, hear, and know for the week of February 10th to February 16th, 2020. Keep in mind that energy and time are fluid, so if a message doesn't resonate, don't force it. I might apply it to you at a later date. That said, we're going to cut the deck. We're going to get right into it. If it doesn't fit, don't force it. If it does, awesome. So we're going to go ahead and start off at the bottom of the deck. And it's matching my shirt. So we got the Magician. To me, the Magician means a couple of things. It can mean manifestation, you know what I mean? Given the fact that peace and prosperity came up when I was doing the meditation earlier, I feel like this kind of... You may be coming to a point where you're finally reaching a certain state of peace surrounding a situation you've been dealing with, is what I've been telling, or what I'm being told, excuse me. One thing I find interesting about this card, and the reason I like this deck, which is the Golden Dawn Tarot, by the way, by Robert Wang and Dr. Israeli Regardi. I think that's what it is, trying to read right there. I find it interesting that all of the elements are collected on the table. It's ruled by, what is that, Caucadius? I think that's what it's called. The symbol of health, I think it is. It's yellow and Mercury. And so to me, this card kind of indicates there may be peaceful communications, there may be prosperity in communication, or communication that will lead to peace and prosperity. So maybe somebody you've been dealing with that you've been wanting to come to a sense of understanding with. I feel like this card is kind of indicating for the week that yes, like this is very much possible, but keep in mind that while the energies are there, it takes free will on both ends of the spectrum for things to come together. So it's one of those things where you can leave it up to the universe, but you also got to meet the universe halfway, and vice versa. So let's go ahead and pull a couple cards. We're going to leave the bottom of the deck here. So let's see what we get. King of Swords, Five of Cups reversed, and Princess of Cups. Yeah. Okay. That's kind of, yeah. This is exactly what I was just talking about. So when I get court cards, I often kind of look at them as, you know, people in a situation that you may be dealing with. It can represent you, but it can represent you when there's one, but I feel like when there's multiple, and there's, especially when it's in a setup like this, with a card in between them, it does feel resonant to, I wouldn't necessarily say a new relationship, but what I'm kind of picking up with this, let's say you have the masculine energy here, the feminine energy here, and keep in mind, none of those are specific to gender. What I'm picking up on is you both are coming to an understanding, realizing how you were both focusing on the negative aspects of your relationship, be it romantic, platonic, even familial. And so I think you're both coming to this realization where the King of Swords here, this masculine energy, is like, okay, I'm seeing how my communication style may have reflected not only the things I was focusing on, not only the things that they were focusing on that were going wrong in the relationship, but seeing how their past has bled over into that, and vice versa for the feminine energy. It's kind of this understanding of like, okay, both of you two, okay, this is what I'm seeing. So you both so clearly care about each other, but there's really not any change happening at the moment. What I'm getting is the change is really internal right now. So you can see the King of Swords kind of riding off in his own direction, but I'm just going to say he and his just because it's the King of Swords. I'm not, again, the energy, if the person you're dealing with could very well be a woman with masculine energy or a man with feminine energy. So just keep that in mind as I'm going through. And if I say he, him, or she, or her, I'm not trying to assign the energies in that sense. So you can see the King of Swords moving off in his own direction, but still kind of looking back. So it's like he has a sort of truth and he's recognizing, hey, like I see what I need to do differently, not only within myself, but within this connection. But in order to do that, it's looking like this King of Swords kind of has to go off on his own expedition, his own journey. And looking at it in the context of the Princess of Cups applying to this King of Swords, what I'm seeing here is basically this King of Swords, this masculine energy, really integrating their feminine energy. And given it's a Princess of Cups, it's still kind of new in that process. So taking this time to themselves, finding that peace and prosperity. If you are a masculine energy resonating with this, right, the energies are ripe for you to really kind of sit with yourself, opposed to looking for external validation, and finding ways you can better cater to yourself, treat yourself a little bit better, not being so hard on yourself, and really just taking the time to understand why you react the way you do in certain situations, why certain things trigger you, and kind of disarming the triggers through that. So ask Spirit to please help me clarify these cards a bit. What do you got, Spirit? I know some readers, they do the, the kind of like throwing the cards thing. Not sure I'm so good at that. I've tried it in the past. These cards are kind of big and my hands are kind of small, so I am not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just pull the cards as I do. And here we go. We have the Empress at the bottom of the deck. I'm going to use that to clarify this bottom of the deck. So this is actually kind of going, okay, looking at this from the feminine perspective. Even before I pull the cards, I mean, I'm getting a hit right here with it. I'm getting the message that, okay, the feminine energy in this connection, whether you consider this a divine partnership, a twin flame, a soulmate, or whatever resonates with you, honestly. Taking this time to understand how your toxic masculinity or internalized misogyny has led to imbalances, not only within this relationship, but within all aspects of your life, right? And so what I take notice on here is this Empress is holding the Ankh, is what it looks like. And if you know anything about Egyptian symbology or symbolism, essentially the Ankh represents the balance of the meeting and the balance of divine feminine and masculine energies. And so given she's actually holding it, looks right around the solar plexus and the sacral chakra, kind of ties into this card here. And so what I'm feeling like is healing yourself, and by doing so, healing this connection. And so, the solar plexus is often considered like the chakra that we use to connect with people the most. It's the easiest to connect with people, but that's also kind of the way we trade off energy with other people. We trade off through like all the other chakras, but particularly the solar plexus and the sacral, I've noticed, just based on my experience and people I've talked to, has been one of the more major chakras that needs, I wouldn't say like cleaning or cleansing, but just balancing. And that's usually done through like, boundaries, self-care, respecting your own boundaries and not overstepping your own boundaries. And so I think, what Spirit's telling me right now is a good time to evaluate your boundaries and realize that like when you set boundaries, it doesn't always have to be so stern, like, I'm setting this boundary, this, that, and the third. It can be a little bit more compassionate to yourself, knowing that you don't have to put yourself in a situation that makes you uncomfortable. So you can essentially just kind of like, hey, like, I need a little bit of space, or whatever feels comfortable for you, honestly. That's kind of what these cards are telling me. So I'm going to pull a little bit more here. We do have 5 of Wands, the 8 of Wands reversed, and the 7 of Swords reversed. And so I do remember last week we got the 7 of Swords upright. So what I'm getting here with these cards, I feel like there is a desire for change on both fronts, but there's not necessarily any action being taken towards that. So it's almost as if the silver lining that was being found last week, since I'm seeing this in the reverse, I'm feeling that it's like that's being integrated this week. This doesn't really feel like a particularly burdensome energy. This feels like a very peaceful and calming energy, an energy of realization, an energy of like where you need to go in order to heal yourself, to bring balance into your relationships and into your life. I'm going to pull a couple more cards here, a few more cards. 5 of Swords. What is this? 9 of Swords reverse. And 6 of Wands. Yeah, so I think right now, I think the worst thing you could probably do would be focusing on everything that's gone wrong. And I'm almost picking up on the fact that the reason that there is no action being taken, the reason that none of you are even coming forward, I'm picking up on a story where you two aren't even in communication, possibly for 2 to 3 months. And I think a big reason for that is to learn how to bring yourself out of those mental cycles so you don't keep dragging each other into the same cycles. Because I do notice that with certain relationships, especially of the divine nature, it gets to the point where you trigger each other so much that it's just like you trigger each other unintentionally, and it just becomes like a trigger match. And yeah, so with these energies, I think it's for the week, whether or not this resonates, take it as it is, but taking the time to find the balance outside of the conflict. By finding the balance, you won't recreate the conflict. And so Spirit just told me I need to clarify with the cat deck. Mystical Cat Tarot by Linnea Weatherstone, with art by Mickey Milk. So we're going to shuffle a couple more times. One more time, got the deck. Okay, so bottom of the deck, we actually have Sky Kitten. So what I'm being told is like, the masculine energy in this connection is figuring out a way to communicate in a way that doesn't seem aggressive. Because I'm being told that this masculine energy was very hurt at the time you guys started talking. They may have just gotten out of some very difficult relationships. They may have still been involved with very karmic relationships they've been trying to move out of. And that's really impacted the way in which they've interacted with, everything in their life. And so I think that's a big reason why this imbalance is coming up right now. This really just feels like a reading for, the masculine energy and the connection. You can apply it to the divine, but the divine feminine, but a lot of the story I'm getting here is for the divine masculine right now. So I'm going to go ahead and clarify with the cat deck. 5 of Cups in the upright this time, 4 of Swords, and the 4 of Earth. Yeah, so I'm getting the message that this person, the King of Swords, they're having a really hard time letting themselves off the hook, is what I'm getting here. So they're taking this time, however long it needs to take, given the fact that there's already so much going on in this person's life, as we all have. And kind of giving this person the understanding and the patience, and really focusing on yourself in the meantime. Letting this person do what they need to do. Because if they come back into your life, let's say they walked away, they said they wanted nothing to do with you, respect that, definitely respect that boundary. But if they do decide to come back, I think if they decide to come back, they don't want to do it from the space they were in when you guys were talking, when things were, when there was a lot of conflict. And so that's kind of what I'm picking up on here, especially with this 5 of Cups and 4 of Swords, or 5 of Sea, 4 of Sky. Really just, I'm hearing the words like downtrodden, kind of like beaten and downtrodden, and so just recovering. I mean, it feels like a massive recovery energy, coming back into balance. I know I use the word balance a lot, but it pertains to so many aspects of these connections. And like I said, I don't even intend for these readings to go in this direction. This is just kind of the way they tend to go, or the way I tend to interpret them. So yeah, I've just kind of come to accept the fact that, like, even though I don't particularly go in to do love readings, they tend to be love readings, so I'm not complaining, you know what I mean? I love love. Everybody loves love. Well, I don't know about everybody, but I would imagine most people love healthy love, hopefully. Which, kind of like offhand, I was going to put out a weekend love reading, so I was going to do an actual love reading. And it came out to be like an hour. By the end of it, I was like, wow, I did not expect it to go as hard as it did, but because my phone decided to separate the video into two separate videos, I was having a problem rendering them out when I was using Premiere. I couldn't render them out. They kept getting corrupt, and they were taking like 5 hours to render. And so by the time Saturday hit, I had already tried it a couple times, and I was like, Spirit was like, you know what, just focus on the weekly reading, try to get it out in the next weekend, and make it shorter so I can get it out and not have trouble rendering it. So that's looking like it's about what I'm getting with this. You know, I'm going to go ahead and ask a question. You know, what's Spirit's advice to you right now to move forward through the week in a way that is healthy? Like, what do you need to know right now? Let's see. Oh, and I don't know if I mentioned, I finally got my microphone set up, so the sound quality should be much better. Maybe more headphone. Okay, Spirit. What do you have for the collective for the week of February 10th to February 16th, 2020? King of Wands, Ace of Cups reversed, 2 of Cups. Alright. So what I'm actually getting with this right now is, you can see the 2 of Cups as like, you know, the love card, but I actually like to see it as the card of balance, in the sense of finding that balance of divine feminine energy within yourself, and realizing that, like, you don't need anybody to balance you out. Other people can help, and relationships can help foster that and speed it up actually quite a bit, but they can be intense, you know what I mean? And so that's what I'm getting. It's okay to take breaks. Given the fact that we do have the King of Wands reversed and the Ace of Cups reversed, Spirit's showing me that right now maybe isn't the best time to move forward, given that there might still be some healing that you need to do. But also understanding, like, it's okay to step away from that healing. Like, you're allowed to take breaks. You know, I know with shadow work being such a popular topic right now, and rightly so, I really think it deserves the attention it gets. But I feel like it's not talked about enough that we should be able to take breaks from that. You know, we can learn to step away and detach from the healing. Not in the sense of we're just completely ignoring what we need to feel, but just detaching, doing something fun, doing something grounding, not spending so much time in the astral, just processing and integrating, and it just takes time. And I think that's kind of what this whole reading is speaking about right here. So we're going to actually pull a few more, and then we are going to move on to the Oracle. Oops. Okay, these fell out, and it is a big stack, so we're going to take them. So let's see what we got here. We have 8 of Fire, 2 of Cups reversed, the Wheel of Fortune reversed, the Devil, Sky Queen, which is Queen of Swords. Is that the Star? 10 of Wands, 8 of Swords, 7 of Wands. Wow, this is a lot. So right off the bat, what I'm feeling like is, I mean, from the perspective of shadow work. Actually, you know what? No, I'm getting a different message. Spirit's telling me that this kind of like devilish energy, it can represent the shadow, but in some instances, it can represent, entities or forces that try to keep you stuck in the same patterns, trying to keep you in this unbalanced state, trying to keep you sending messages of, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? Why didn't you say this, or why didn't you say that? Instead of kind of taking the time to let the wheel turn in the other direction. It's not the way. Let the wheel turn, basically, and kind of trust in the divine timing. Get in touch with your higher self. Talk to your spirit guides if you feel called to that. Ask for advice from spirit, or simply just realize that while you may be in a position that feels stagnant, that doesn't necessarily mean things are stagnant. I'm kind of feeling like that is just what is being shown to you in order for you to kind of develop a deeper sense of faith within yourself and the universe, and trust that it's okay for things to be like this. Like, they don't have to always be the way you want them to be, and kind of relinquishing that control. Just really surrendering to the process. Honestly. Yeah, so I think, just final kind of understanding of these cards is just, both of you, whether you're the King of Swords or whether you're the Princess of Cups, or whether you resonate with divine feminine or masculine energy, all of these messages can apply to certain aspects of yourself. So I think the main theme of this week is really just coming to terms with the fact that, hey, maybe I made some mistakes, but that's okay. I can take some time to forgive myself. I can take some time to heal those mistakes. And that does not mean I'm not deserving of a healthy relationship, because everybody makes mistakes. I don't know anybody that hasn't. And I think forgiveness for yourself is more important than anything. Forgiving other people takes time, and I don't always feel like it's necessary for your healing process, because it's okay to be hurt. It's okay to be angry. I think it's healthy to be angry. And so if you're feeling angry at this masculine energy right now, or you're feeling angry at yourself for making these mistakes, feel that anger. What is that anger trying to teach you? And channel that into something that can essentially build you up to a place that allows you to not necessarily make the same mistakes, but make mistakes that will help you grow. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but people don't often want to make mistakes, but a lot of the times that's just kind of how we have to learn. And that's what these cards are telling me too. It's like things got kind of shitty, but I feel like that's kind of just what had to happen to get both of you to wake up to the fact that you were both causing each other harm that didn't need to be caused, which causes a relationship to get to where it is. It's not any one person's fault. So yeah, we're gonna actually go ahead and close up with an oracle card. I'm gonna get all of these out of the way. Yeah, you definitely want to remain patient during times like this. I know it can get frustrating, especially with Mercury retrograde coming up. It's definitely a time of slowing down. I think it goes retrograde in, is it this week? Is it the 17th? I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, it's definitely a good time to slow down. I feel like Mercury retrograde is kind of like a review period. Oh, you know what? I just realized the Magician has a Mercury symbol on it. Yeah, so there you go. But I really feel like this is a good time to dig into the deeper aspects of your mind. It's almost like a life review type of energy, but pertaining to relationships. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle these. I do love this Kuan Yin Oracle Divine Feminine deck. Alright. What do you have for us, Kuan Yin? What do you got? being told this is a message for the Divine Feminine. I mean, given it's a Divine Feminine deck. But it's a message for the Divine Feminine nature in the masculine dominant person. And how you can kind of, I don't want to say fill your time, because I mean, it's not like time's being wasted, but what are ways that you can find a deeper sense of peace and prosperity, during this time, during this week. So I'm going to cut the deck. Dynasty of the Divine Mother. I'm going to actually read this from the book. I do not have all of these memorized. So this is card number 8. 8 can pertain to cycles. It can pertain to balance. Where do we go? Okay. So Dynasty of the Divine Mother, card number 8. The only wish of the Divine Mother Goddess is that all beings be spiritually free. The Divine Goddess calls us to realize our true nature, to fall in love with our own divinity. Enlightenment is a culmination of many small steps, each one as a drop of water forming a divine ocean of peace, realization, love, and unity within us, an ocean that washes away fear, separation, and scarcity, and bathes us in an abundance and bliss. You carry the torch of enlightenment within you, beloved. Let it shine each day. Sometimes we imagine enlightened beings to be another species of everyday humans, or another species to everyday humans. Yet there is an old Eastern saying that goes, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Enlightenment is made manifest through the small actions we take each day. Sometimes the smallest action can feel like an enormous leap, and yet when that action is taken, we realize that the journey into peace is something we can choose to take at any moment. The Dynasty of the Divine Mother is her spiritual legacy, her endless compassion for human suffering, and her intent to lift humanity out of ignorance into peace, which shines through the Oriental goddesses like Kuan Yin, Green Tara, and Mazu. This oracle indicates that your spiritual legacy is important on this planet. You are a channel for the Dynasty of the Divine Mother, for the enlightenment of all beings. We contribute to the Divine Mother's dynasty through our choices and creations, from the inner thoughts we hold up to the projects in which we invest time, energy, and money. These become part of the spiritual legacy we pass on to generations to come. The Divine Mother now guides you to realize that your soul is moving closer to personal enlightenment and is beginning to live it from moment to moment. The more you choose to notice and appreciate these moments, the more they will happen for you. It is this realization of your own process of realizing it taking place. It is very exciting, and yet it will not take you away from the world of your loved ones, as you might have feared subconsciously, beloved. It will simply make your light stronger, bringing blessings and peace through your being into the world and your relationships each day. Your personal enlightenment will help the planet in so many ways. You will become stronger. You will become a stronger spiritual light to which others can look so that they can find their way more clearly. You are being asked to surrender ideas about what enlightenment may look like or feel like, and realize where it is already emerging within you. You will also receive guidance about your spiritual practice on a daily basis soon. You may be drawn to meditate in a different way, to work with sacred words and prayers, Tai Chi, or Qigong, healing arts, or to get acupuncture or massage more regularly. Listen to your heart. It knows unity and has a seed of enlightenment already within it. And follow your inner guidance. This is worded a bit weird. This is the luminous pathway to divine realization and living your everyday enlightenment. The Divine Mother has gratitude for you as a part of her spiritual legacy, a member of the Dynasty of the Divine Mother. This card is also guidance not to fear if your spiritual path appears to be losing some focus to matters in the day-to-day world. Your spiritual focus will return when the time is right. But for now, look at what is happening in your life as spiritual practice and trust that you are progressing with perfection. Enlightenment doesn't have to happen in an obviously spiritual place. Our life can be a temple for our soul growth if we are to open it from the heart. Let your heart rest peaceful. knowing that your spiritual light is shining bright and growing deeply. And I'm going to include the quick little healing that they have. So lie quietly in a slightly darkened room and take your awareness into your heart center. Imagine that there is a light glowing in your heart that ebbs and flows with your breath. As you breathe in, you feel the light glowing stronger, and as you breathe out, you feel the light expanding within and then all around you. Say softly aloud as you breathe in, I feel the light of love within me. And as you breathe out, say, I feel the light of love all around me. Breathe in and out like this for a while, and then say, I am one with the light of love in all things. Rest, feel the energy of connection, and allow it to travel from your heart through the entire body. When you are ready, open your eyes. So, take it one step at a time. Honestly, I think a lot of us are embarking on new territory. I feel like 2020 is a big year for a lot of us. I know I have my Saturn return coming up next month. And so I think this is going to be a foundation-shaking year, not just for me, but for the collective, honestly. This is what the energy's feeling like. There's so much growth within such a short amount of time. And so, yeah, I mean, just finding that patience, trusting the process, and just learning to love yourself a little deeper. But yeah, that concludes our reading. That concludes the weekly reading for February 10th and February 16th. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'm really blessed to be able to read for you guys. It's a beautiful experience. I'm glad I started doing this. And I pray for you all. I wish you all the best. As always, if you'd like to book a personal reading, there are details in the description. You're more than welcome to send me an email. I do prefer emails over DM on Instagram. However, if you would like to find my Instagram, you can find that in the description as well. So yes, I wish you a blessed week. I'll keep you in my prayers. Thank you all so much. Love you all. Bye-bye.